Hello and welcome to Livestream. I'm Gargi Rao. Today, in a very significant development, the Supreme Court has said that women have the constitutional right to enter Kerala's Sabarimala temple. A big boost for women's rights, but also a very sensitive issue. As for the last 800 years, there has been a stop on women of menstruating age, that's ages between 10 to 50, from entering the famed Lord Ayyappan temple. And this is also a very emotional issue. Now, the 5-judge Constitution bench, which is hearing the case, which was first filed in 2006, has today said that women cannot be discriminated against with regard to offering prayers in a temple. This hearing, however, will continue and the case will be heard tomorrow as well. So what we're asking you, and do write in or call us with your opinions or any questions you may have. Time for Sabarimala to allow the entry of women. Do call us in with any questions. We'll be going across to guests who will speak on this. Also, first let's go across to our reporter Vaidyanathan, who's been tracking this case at the Supreme Court, and also Sam Daniel joining us from Chennai. Vaidya, first let's go across to you. So these are the very interesting and observations by the Supreme Court today, where they talk about the constitutional right of women, that women are equal to men when it comes to offering prayers. Tomorrow as well this case will be heard. So give us the latest on what took place in the court today.
Gargi, the main issue here is there are a lot of customs and religious rites, not only in Sabarimala, there are other temples all over the south where very orthodox temples are there. So the legal point here is whether this custom, religious rights, can it override the constitutional rights guaranteed in the Constitution? That is the crux of the issue the Supreme Court would be answering when it delivers the judgment. So as far today is concerned, all lawyers, right from Ravi Prakash Gupta, who represent the Indian Young Lawyers Association, as well as other petitioners represented by senior advocate Indra Jaising, all have argued their only main point is completely discrimination, gender bias. But judges, it's a 5-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, and the only women judge here is Mrs. Hindu Malhotra. So Chief Justice making himself very clear, saying that any temple, it's not a private temple, it's a public temple. So nobody can stop anyone going into whether men or women. And Justice D.O. Chandrachud also taking the point ahead. He said, God has created women. How can you discriminate against women either in employment or in worship? He went on to say the menstruating issue, how does it connect with the worship? This is completely discriminatory, said the other judge, Justice Rohinton Nariman. So a lot of observations. They made it very clear what is their intentions are, but they are yet to hear the other side who support the ban. Interestingly, Chief Justice also made a point to Mr. Raju Ramachandran, who is the senior advocate who is acting as amicus curiae, assisting the court in solving the issue. Chief Justice told him, saying that the untouchability is an offence, whether this discrimination against women, particularly in Sabarimala temple, will it amount to untouchability also? So he will have to answer tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll have to wait and see how the other side argues. But anyway, probably tomorrow or next week, the judgment may be reserved, then we'll have to wait for the judgment.
All right, Vaidya, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the latest. And as Vaidya is telling us, tomorrow as well, this issue, the other side will argue in this issue against the entry of women, the side that has been fighting so that the 800-year-old tradition can remain. Let's go across now to Sam Daniel, who's joined by some people there in Chennai. And Sam, what has the reaction been to the Supreme Court's observations today?
Gargi, they understand that this is only an observation and not a final verdict, and the verdict could still go any way. And with me, Ms. Parvada Vardhani, an entrepreneur, and her daughter Varshini. Thank you so much for your time. And what's your take, ma'am? The Supreme Court has observed that women should be allowed to enter the Sabarimala temple.
Actually, I really oppose, because I respect Hindu religion, and our sanctity should not get spoiled because of that. So for whatever they say, as per Hindu religion, our ancestor says, there is definitely a meaning to it. And I feel we should respect the Hindu religion and oppose people who are not eligible, like ladies and other people, middle-aged ladies, should not be entered into Sabarimala at all. That is my view.
Do you think that may not be a very progressive belief?
Yeah, I believe the same thing. The traditional thing, everything has a reason behind that, what our ancestors has told. So they should not be allowed, like women should not be allowed. That has a reason behind it.
Any particular reason you think it's still valid now?
Not exactly, but
Right.
yeah.
Any one reason you think, yeah?
As per Hanuman Chalisa, the whatever the version lyrics it says, a lot of Americans have made a lot of research on Hindu religion, and they were amazed by whatever we say earlier. It is matching with them. They made research and then came to know. But as per Hanuman Chalisa, the distance from the earth to the sun, it it gives explicitly the distance from the earth to the sun.
Right.
The lyrics, whatever they say. So they got amazed. That is the one which I could
But don't you think this could be against the spirit of equality between men and women in this modern era?
No, equality we can say in other whatever we want to, like women should be allowed to go at even 12 o'clock in the midnight.
Right.
That I really agree, because they should have the liberation to go out and with safety also.
Right.
But in this case, I don't agree with it.
If Supreme Court, for argument's sake, makes it legal to allow women to enter the Sabarimala temple, would you enter now in this age?
No, I would not.
You would not. Okay. So strong views, Gargi, irrespective of the final outcome of the Supreme Court verdict in this case.
All right, Sam, and here we're talking about it being a boost for women's right, but there you heard it from two women who say that tradition should not be changed, and then they support this 800-year-old tradition. Well, we're also joined by Shanti Mayadevi, a lawyer in the High Court in Kerala, and someone who thinks it's high time that women are allowed to enter. And also on the phone line with us is the chief of the Bhumata Brigade, Trupti Desai, and someone who has vowed to enter the Sabarimala temple. In fact, she vowed to enter it in 2017. Trupti, first to you, your reaction to what the Supreme Court said today, and also to those two women we just spoke to in Chennai who are against this and they feel tradition should be followed.
सबसे पहले तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो ऑब्जर्वेशन किया है इसका हम स्वागत करते हैं, क्योंकि ये हमारे जीत की शुरुआत है। क्योंकि सबसे पहले हमने आंदोलन ही इसीलिए किया था कि इक्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, महिलाओं को जो है वो समानता का अधिकार मिलना चाहिए, और जो मंदिर होता है वो किसी की प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी नहीं, ये भक्तों का मंदिर होता है। और भगवान ने कभी महिला हो या पुरुष हो, किसी भक्तों में जो है वो भेदभाव नहीं किया है। तो ये भेदभाव करने वाले ट्रस्टी कौन है, ये दादागिरी करने वाले ट्रस्टी कौन है? और वहाँ पे जो है वो महिलाओं को न्याय मिलना चाहिए। मेंस्ट्रुअल पीरियड हो, दुय्यम स्थान देना हो या महिलाओं को अपमानित करना हो, ये जो गलत परंपरा है, इसके लिए ये महिलाओं के लिए जो ये परंपराएं थी और वो खत्म होनी चाहिए। महिलाओं को इक्वालिटी का अधिकार होना चाहिए। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑब्जर्वेशन का हम स्वागत करते हैं। और आज जो उन्होंने ऑब्जर्वेशन किया है और केरला गवर्नमेंट ने भी जो है वो कहा है कि महिलाओं को प्रवेश मिलना चाहिए, तो हमें लगता है कि फाइनल वर्डिक्ट भी महिलाओं के बाजू से ही आएगा और वहाँ पे महिलाओं की जीत होगी। और जो अपोज कर रहे हैं उनको हमें इतना ही कहना है कि ये आपकी जो मानसिकता है वो चेंज होनी चाहिए। आज तक जो महिलाओं के बाजू से आपने महिलाओं को दुय्यम स्थान देना हो, उनका अपमान करना हो, या फिर मेंस्ट्रुअल पीरियड के बारे में उनको जो है वो मंदिर में अपवित्र कहना हो, ये जो है वो बहुत बार किया है, लेकिन 21st सेंचुरी में ये नहीं चलेगा। और सुप्रीम कोर्ट मुझे लगता है कि महिलाओं को न्याय भी देगा। और वहाँ पे जैसे शनि शिंगणापुर हाजी अली दरगाह में हमें विक्ट्री मिली, ऐसा ही हिस्टोरिकल निर्णय जो है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट महिलाओं के बाजू से देगा।
All right, so Trupti, they're very optimistic that the doors of Sabarimala will be open, and I will just like to go across to callers that we have on the phone line from Hyderabad. Ravinder Singh, go ahead with your question.
I only have an opinion that, this people who are opposing women who have a natural menstrual cycle, they should not be prevented. Impurity of heart is much more dangerous than impurity, given impurity. Each man walking around having so many speakers around, does it make him impure? But impurity of the heart is much more relevant than this.
All right, purity of heart more important. We also have Gopal Krishnan Iyer from Mumbai. Go ahead.
Yeah, while I appreciate the equality that is held by the Honorable Supreme Court, there are certain conventions that the good old temples have been following for any number of years. And there must be some religious reason for banning ladies who have not attained their menopause.
All right. Well, things have changed a lot from what they were 800 years ago. Trupti, yes. In fact, we will be going across to Trupti in just a moment. But first, let's go across to Santi there. Santi, you've been hearing all these various opinions to women in Chennai who are against the temple doors of the Sabarimala being open to women. Some people calling in and saying that everyone should be allowed and purity of heart is more important. What is your reaction to today's developments?
First of all, I should say that I am a believer, but I am a progressive believer. And as a proud lawyer, I seriously accept, and I am so proud to be, and part of a lawyer, and to really accept the decision and the comments made by the Honorable Supreme Court of India today. Now, it's clearly see that now it is a conflict between the natural school of law and positive school of law. Everyone knew that. Before 18th century, we were the religious morality, and we were in the natural school of law. But after 18th century, after Blackstone, we clearly knows that if we stick on that religious moralities, and everyone will have separate law. That is why we changed into positive school of law. There the court system starts and on. Now, according to the court, there is no myths. There is no religious morality, there is no reformer view, there is no anthropologist view. The only view by the court should be taken as legality and illegality. Now it is clearly stated in the Constitution of India, where the Supreme Court says that whether it comes under untouchability. Now sees that Article 17, it is clearly bans the untouchability, and anyone acts against that untouchability rule, it is punishable under law. So now the question is, when a woman is saying that you shouldn't enter to that place, whether it comes under untouchability and all. According to me, as a lawyer and as a proud woman, I should say that it will clearly come under untouchability. So in that viewpoint, the Honorable Supreme Court says what the Supreme Court says is absolutely right, and I support the Supreme Court view. But now the question is if the Supreme Court is going to say that, okay, you can enter. Now the believer thing, I am a believer, but I really accept the Supreme Court view as I am a lawyer, because whatever the Constitution says is absolutely right. Now there's a comparison between Article 17 and Article 25 to 28. Article 17 clearly says that it bans untouchability. Article 25 to 28 says that it is a right to religious freedom. Now only the comparison.
That is what is under consideration by the Supreme Court, the right to religion, that Article 25 of the Constitution. We have another caller here, Raj from Bengaluru. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Gargi. Thank you for a show like Livestream, and my comment and question would be I'm an atheist. I'm not sure whether God exists or not. But if God exists at the first place, I don't think God discriminates between men and women. More so during the periods of women. Okay. After all, the women are the 50% of our population. So, and be it Sabarimala or be it any mosque or be it any place of worship, it's just bizarre to bar and discriminate against women for their entry. I just find it really bizarre in 21st century.
All right. Thank you, Raj, for sharing your opinion there. I'd like to go back to Trupti Desai, someone who is vowed to enter Sabarimala. Trupti, हमने पहले कुछ महिलाओं से बात करी थी जो चेन्नई से थे. उनका कहना था कि अगर ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट अलाउ भी करेगा टेम्पल में औरतों का अंदर जाना, वो फिर भी नहीं जाएंगी, क्योंकि उनका कहना है कि ये हमारे परंपरा है और इसका आदर करना चाहिए.
नहीं, सबसे पहले तो जो महिलाएं जो मतलब परंपराएं मान रही है, ये देखिए ये गलत परंपरा है. जो मेंस्ट्रुअल पीरियड अभी तक शुरुआत हुई है कि मतलब जो पहले से शुरू है कि ये अपवित्र है, महिलाएं नहीं जा सकती, तो ये मानसिकता जो है वो महिलाओं के मन में है, इसीलिए वो डरते हैं. कभी कभी भगवान जो है वो मतलब श्राप देते हैं. ऐसी एक जो मानसिकता है वो कहीं ना कहीं इनको पीछे लेके आती है. तो मुझे चेन्नई की जो महिलाएं विरोध कर रही, मुझे उनसे यही कहना है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का वर्डिक्ट आएगा, जिनको जाना है वो महिलाएं तो हमारी जैसे आगे जाएगी, गर्भगृह दर्शन के लिए मंदिर में जाएगी, और जिनको नहीं जाना है उन्होंने गलत तो मैसेज नहीं देना चाहिए. अगर उनकी भक्ति नहीं है तो वो नहीं जाए. लेकिन ये जो निर्णय आने वाला है ये परिवर्तन वाला निर्णय है, ये क्रांतिकारी निर्णय आने वाला है, महिलाओं के बाजू से निर्णय आने वाला है. और महिलाएं अभी तक जो दुय्यम स्थान में है पे जो ये भेदभाव किया जाता, तो उसके लिए हमारे लिए ये हिस्टोरिकल जो है वो निर्णय होगा। और इसको महिलाएं अगर विरोध करेगी, इसमें अगर महिलाएं जो है वो आगे आएगी कि यहाँ पे हम नहीं जाएंगे, तो मुझे लगता है ये गलत है। लेकिन मुझे ये भी कहना है कि जिनको नहीं जाना है उन्होंने नहीं जाना चाहिए, लेकिन हमारे जैसे महिलाओं को जाना है तो वहाँ पे हमें प्रवेश चाहिए। ये हमारा फंडामेंटल राइट्स है। हमें जो इक्वल राइट्स का अधिकार कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने दिया है वो हमें मिलना चाहिए, और वो नहीं मिलता था, इसीलिए वो छीनने के लिए हमें आगे आना पड़ा। और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के माध्यम से जो है वो अभी दरवाजे खुले रहेंगे। तो मुझे लगता है कि जो महिलाएं विरोध कर रही है, ये निर्णय के बाद वो भी उनका भी परिवर्तन होगा, उनके विचारों में भी जो है वो परिवर्तन होगा। उनका वो महिलाएं जो है वो उसका स्वागत करेगी। और 21st सेंचुरी में ये परिवर्तन होना जरूरी है, मानसिकता में बदल करना जरूरी है।
जी, और though it does seem it will take some time to change those mindsets, Trupti, let's listen in to another caller, Sudeep Thomas from Ooty. Go ahead, Sudeep.
Ma'am, it's a big, I respect the Supreme Court's ruling and I fully agree with it. I also respect women's rights. But our Indian women, respecting their culture, will any woman in their 30s, 40s, 50s go to Sabarimala? Maybe children who are born this year, to 18 years, 20 years from now, they may go. But our culture teaches us that women should not go.
All right, Sudeep, well, that is your opinion, but as we've been saying, it's going to take time for the mindset to change. There's some women also who believe that, no, if there has been such a tradition and we don't want to violate that, don't want to go in, even if the Supreme Court does allow them. But as Trupti was also talking there, that it is going to take some time, but this is a part of women's fundamental and constitutional rights, that, and the Supreme Court also ruling today that women have as equal right to pray as do men, and that once the temple's doors are open, it's open to all. If it's open to the public, then it cannot discriminate against women. We also have another caller with us, Kiran from Thrissur. Go ahead. All right, we'll go across to Kiran. First, we have Kalyan Banerjee calling in from Siliguri. Yes, Kalyan, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Thank you for the show. It's a wonderful show that even the viewers can participate. Yeah, I would like to comment that the basic tenet that is being debated today, it's about the equality of men and women in going to a temple. What I believe is that men and women can never be equal. They are complementary to each other. Nature has created us in such a way that the men are given certain advantages in some way and women are given advantages in certain other way. So the basic tenet of trying to get into a temple or trying to get the Supreme Court intervene into 800-year-old tradition is, I think, it's totally futile, because every culture that survives for generations is the culture that always obeys its traditions. It has respect for its traditions.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. Let's go across to Shanti for more on that. Shanti, so many people calling in and saying this is an 800-year-old tradition and how can we now go against it? Whatever the Supreme Court is saying, Supreme Court is looking clearly at the law, constitution and otherwise the religious rights. But this is something more emotional, and this was a tradition. Even women saying that we wouldn't enter even if we're allowed to.
Yes, seriously. I seriously respect that view and all. I am a believer. If at all the Supreme Court says that, I respect the rule of law and I admit that we are governed by rule of law and we are under the constitution. Even though the Supreme Court allows the same, I am not going to enter the Sabarimala. That's separative. It is upon the person who perceives that. That is what I clearly said even from the very beginning, that it is up to the persons. If the reformer view, we can say that, you can say that, the reformation is necessary in the society. We are living in the 20th century and we don't know what is happening tomorrow. Tomorrow, whether India doesn't have a religion. See, India is a positive secular country. India doesn't have a religion. So whether we expect that there shouldn't be like, you are Hindu, you are Christian, you are Muslim. There shouldn't be something like that. And clearly says that if the people are seeing that we are following a tradition for the, 100 and more than 100 years and all, we should see that the talaq has been banned. Mutalaq has banned. Divorce through talaq has been banned. It was been prevailing among the Muslim community for long. So not even the thing, even the Supreme Court will interfere in other things also. Even the Muslim community, the women are not allowed to, offer their prayer along with the men in the mosque. Most of the churches doesn't have prayer area for the women. Some of the mosques has the space for the women to pray or to offer their prayer.
we expect that this will also change. So the reformation is must in the society. That is what the Blackstone says, that there is no rights, there is no wrong, only the legality and illegality. Now the people are accepting Android, the Windows to Android. So it is the same thing, the person saying that I want to use Android because, all is working on Windows. So what is the effect? The same thing. The society will change because we all are educated. The customs will change from day to day. So we cannot expect that what will be tomorrow. Okay, that is my personal view.
Right, Shanti. Well, let's go across to Sonia, who is calling in from Delhi. Go ahead, Sonia.
Thanks for having me on the show, Gargi. I'd just like to say I think it's very interesting that no lady caller has called with any kind of comment. And I've heard many gentlemen saying that this is based on 800-year-old tradition and so on. Well, this tradition itself is based on a very old-fashioned notion of menstruating women being unclean. I think it's time we change that, don't you?
No, absolutely, absolutely correct. Though we did have some male callers who actually supported this and said it's high time that women too were allowed in Sabarimala, and that it's a large part of the population that's being discriminated against, and that is the issue that's really being is being looked at by the Supreme Court, of discrimination and constitutional rights. And finally, I'd like to Shanti talk about this issue of women being unclean during menstruation. It's really high time that this sort of a mentality was done away with.
Of course, it's because, happy to bleed movement and all, we have seen. That is what, again, I have to say that it is all upon the perceiveness. Because I have been heard that, this is your, impurity time, you shouldn't enter and all. Because I believe that there is no such kind of things and all. I support the happy to bleed movement and all. So this all kind of movement is right, going to arise and arise. So now
I'd also like to finally get a final word from Trupti here on this issue. All right, we seem to have lost Trupti. Well, we're completely out of time. Thank you so much, Shanti, for being with us, and Trupti Desai, who was earlier on the phone line with us, and she's somebody who had vowed to enter Sabarimala, and perhaps that will come true sooner than later, with the Supreme Court's very positive observations today on this case, saying it's an issue of constitutional right for women, and you cannot discriminate on women just because they're menstruating, and that is the issue the Supreme Court is looking at. The arguments will continue tomorrow as well, and we'll be tracking them very, very closely. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.